Good morning. It's Tuesday, 8:15 in the morning, and I figured it's been a little while since I came on here, so thought I'd come on and just do a little bit of a video here and get a little bit of a update and maybe look at some charts. Nothing specific, but yeah, I thought I'd just take a look at more of the general state of the economy and look at some of the recent news. And one of the things that I was looking at is the airline industry, and what I got here is this Boeing. I think most of us know this big company. And yeah, we could see here at the heights in 2009, this thing was valued about $450. And yeah, she had a pretty good screech down to about 89, and we're just kind of in this range right now. But the bigger thing, I wasn't necessarily going to do any technical analysis on this. Sometimes people say, look at that Bart Simpson head. But back to the point. Right now, we're seeing a lot of stimulus getting put in, or a lot of quantitative easing, or we're seeing a lot of money printed by the Fed, and certain companies, let's say the airlines in particular, are struggling. They're struggling bad, and it's interesting to look at. I think Warren Buffett sells his entire position in the U.S. airlines. So whether or not you take weight in what Warren does, I think it's worth hearing. And just to see the state of the economy, I mean, and just the geopolitical structure that we're in, no one's flying anywhere, right? So these airline companies are going to go bankrupt unless the government bails them out. And I'm pretty sure that's what I heard, that the government was bailing out Boeing. But either way, Warren Buffett says the hell with the airline industry. It's not just the U.S. ones. I mean, it's the global, right? I mean, so airline stocks, I mean, it could be in even a rougher future ahead of us here. I think it was probably pretty obvious that this is not the sector that you want to be in right now. Airlines, and the next one I'm looking at is cruise ships. So all these cruise ships are looking for huge bailouts. This one's looking for about $650 million in financing. I think another one, like more in the States, was looking about $3 billion. And just to try to get them back going. I mean, no one wants to go into one of these cruise ships right now, and who knows how long that these won't be running. I mean, so yeah, a couple of these industries, I mean, I've heard people call these scrap metal. I mean, because that's not the world we're living in as of right now. But yeah, cruise lines, I mean, these are industries that need bailouts, or they're going to go bankrupt. And then it's a matter of, is the government going to put the money there? And we're kind of in the situation where it's a matter of the government picking who gets to survive or not, especially in these types of businesses. So that's kind of like, well, I don't know, that's not really free market, and that's where you get these relationships between the government and corporations. I mean, for the better or worse, right? I mean, but that's fascism in a nutshell, and I'd rather just see free market and see some of these companies go under and let the free market kind of fix itself, because anytime you kind of interject, I mean, it just causes bigger problems. So some interesting little bits of information about the cruise industry and the airlines. I mean, not doing too good, and in the sense that the Fed gets to choose which businesses and what companies can open, when they can open. Who gets the bailout? I mean, you can see that there's a larger incentive to be, shaking hands with each other, especially during these times. So yeah, the Boeing thing, I mean, it says strong sell on here. I mean, I usually don't look at that, but yeah, I mean, maybe some of these things will have a good bounce back, but probably not. I mean, dude, everyone's got a different opinion here, and a cool little site here that I figured I'd just show for real quick is this U.S. National Debt Clock, usdebtclock.org. And I mean, there's a lot of numbers going on here, but it's just lifetime debt here. So, I mean, you can watch the debt grow in lifetime. I mean, not that you want to really watch that, but yeah, if you didn't know, the debt's going up every second. And we can see here too, that's that's kind of always going on, but we can say the tax revenue here is going down, right? So since we're in a pandemic, like, we're having a decoupling of the revenue the government's getting in, right? So they're getting less in and they're spending more, which creates creates an unfortunate situation where they're gonna get backed into a corner when they don't have much left they can do anymore. Then we'll really see the events kind of take place. But yeah, I think this is just kind of an interesting little website here that shows some of the different stats, and yeah, there's a lot of red and green numbers, but if you look at here long enough, yeah, I mean, you can see some of these numbers don't really look positive when we're trying to make a projection for the future. So yeah, we can look at also the debt of each country here. So we got the GDP, and then we got the national debt. So we've got a couple of ratios there, but yeah, it does look like China actually has a GDP that's larger than their national debt, which is kind of crazy, like especially when we're used to seeing the Canadian ones and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's not too bad, but yeah, I think this is cool. Let's just check out Canada here. Oh, of course we're in the negative. Just like shit, man. But yeah, it's a cool little site here. I mean, what else is down here? Check out right here. Here we go. So we can see here that U.S. has the most gold in the world. How many ounces of gold? The U.S. has got a whole bunch. Germany's got a whole bunch too. International Monetary Fund. I don't think that's a country. I think that's a bank. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the EU. Don't quote me on that. But where's Canada? I think we sold all of ours. But yeah. Production here. I think with what I've been looking at, there's less gold found in larger quantities like it used to, but regardless, yeah, this is kind of a cool site there, so you guys check it out if you want. Boeing here, I don't have much to say. I mean, it dropped past a pretty solid point of resistance there. Like we said, I mean, until the airlines start flying again, I mean, how the hell can these guys be profitable? So yeah, they got that going on, and got this going on, so right here, I don't really want you to go watch this guy. You can, he's just definitely a crypto guy, but the thing is, I see it here, Iran deletes 4 zeros off their currency to fight hyperinflation.
Fundamentally, the expected inflation will still be the exact same. I guess this is just a clear example of why we should not let governments and banks control our currency supply. They have no idea what they're doing, and even if they know what they're doing, they're trying to fool us to make us think that everything is fine. They clearly should not have this authority, and it's better if we just migrate to something decentralized like Bitcoin, where there's no one in charge, no one can shave off zeros, no one can control anything. Bitcoin is always going to be Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is going to be one Bitcoin in the future.
So that's just his ploy, and obviously you can see that he's pumping Bitcoin and wants you to trade the futures on Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. But regardless, the point is sound. If they can just add zeros to stuff, I mean, really, what kind of store of value is it? I mean, when you're looking for a place where they can't manipulate your value, I mean, that's where a lot of the, you know, punk, crypto, anarchist, or techno punks, I mean, they want that decentralized system where there's no government oversight or no control from the big banks, and then there's a lot more freedom with money, and then money just works itself out, and then you can't have this consolidation of wealth or value, let's say, not really of just zeros, but a consolidation of value within a very small percentage of people. So that's what I've been more or less hearing. So I guess the message here is that with all the stimulus coming out of the government and them choosing who gets it, that's just the thing. I mean, it's just like a lot of insider deals going on between the government and big corporations, and we're just hoping for some type of trickle-down effect from all that. I mean, and it's not really ideal. The system is definitely not ideal, especially if you're not a corporation getting any money. I mean, small businesses are usually the people that get left out in the cold. I mean, they can start bitching about giving a small business 10 grand or something, and then they're giving billions and billions of dollars for industries that may not even be running in years. I mean, so it's definitely seems unfair when you're looking at it from that perspective. But hey, I mean, when you're trying to keep things going, I guess there's certain things that people get told that are the right choice. But yeah, I think it's just interesting to kind of see a couple of those things. I mean, and just see the state of the economy, and it's just interesting to see like where is this money gonna go. I mean, so you can look back and say during like some of these past crashes, like not all the stocks did bad. I mean, the majority of the stock market crashed in 2008 and 2001, but there are some stocks that gained a lot of value, like particularly like Amazon and some of these bigger corporate companies. So if you hypothetically consider that some of the stimulus money is going to go into these major corporations, and that's where all the stimulus is going, what's actually going to happen is that they're going to consolidate more of the value or more of the wealth without actually taking it from anyone, because when they print more money, they devalue every dollar you have. And then when you see, let's say, big corporate stock go up exponentially or continually into ridiculous numbers, that's consolidating wealth into their hands, into the hands of a very few people. And that's just that's more what's a little bit upsetting, because when you see that the money that all the hard-working individuals spent their lives to acquire is devalued through printing trillions of dollars in an instant and then pumping them into corporations that obviously don't need the effing money, it just devalues all of our money. So now you can take this more in a trading aspect and say, how can I use this information to apply it to my trading strategy? Well, you could assume that a majority of companies that aren't backed personally by the government will probably have horrible times ahead, or they will probably fail. The ones that have signed agreements with the government, whatever the dotted line said, whatever the stipulations are, I could only, imagine what those stipulations would be. They'll be okay, but the majority of the rest of us will suffer. And then a few companies will do really good and consolidate a lot of that power, just how Jeff Bezos was the richest man in the world, or the first billionaire, and Gates was the same kind of shit. When you consolidate all the world's wealth into the hands of a few people and then act like they're some type of saviors to us all, it's creating a pretty effed up system. And it's not fair in any sense of the imagination. And I guess when you're trading, like, what's the right call to do? I mean, there might be a rational bet to put. If you're gonna go stocks, I mean, I'm hearing everything from everyone sold all of their stocks to maybe just having a couple of the big tech boys that are pretty tough to shake loose. I mean, I guess when everyone has less money, people will buy less overall. So maybe even like companies like Amazon won't be seeing the kind of profits that they might see, but I can almost probably guarantee you that they won't die, right? Amazon won't go out of business. They don't need a bailout. Their stock might go down a little bit, but I'm sure in 10 years they'll be lingering around and they'll be more powerful than ever. So that might be, if you're hell bent on being in stocks, maybe you should think of what are the bigger corporate powers in liaison with the government that can't be shut down during a pandemic, that have rules that they can stay open while everyone else has to stay closed. So I think, if you're going to stay in the stock market and not go like kind of a gold silver route, or go to more techno-punk kind of cryptocurrency viewpoint, I mean, that's just kind of like my little 2 cents right now. I don't really have any real guaranteed predictions. I mean, I'm kind of just watching the market. I mean, I'm kind of suspecting that we're just having a correction kind of phase right now, and hopefully we don't have another big turn to the downside. But obviously the gold and silver people are saying that's going to be the case, and with all the printing of money and all the bailouts, and you've kind of known my point there. So as long as they keep printing money, keep bailing out companies, and the thing is, it's not just once, man. Like, it's going to be continual bailouts, and you have to realize when they bail them out, you're paying for them to be bailed out. So when you're paying to bail out cruise ships with your tax dollars, while small businesses around you that are failing and losing their livelihood, let's just hope that doesn't, that's not the case worldwide, and I'm hoping that that's not the case locally here. And besides that, one other cool thing, you can go onto MIT OpenCourseWare and you can basically find any course. You can find a topic, and you can learn almost anything. So during these times of financial and economic uncertainty, I think it's always good to learn new skills. And for me, I'm just going to casually look at, why not, some computer programming. Besides the finance stuff, that's kind of what this is too. But hopefully we don't keep moving to the direction that we're going. But I think that's what I'll call a video. Hopefully it was okay, not too boring. Everyone take care. Till next time, if anyone has a request, just leave it in the comments if you want me to look at anything. I've ran out of stocks for most people. Or for the person I was looking at it initially. So right now I don't have too many other ones. So it might just be a casual intermittent video just about the state and how I'm currently feeling about everything, and I'll honestly let you know what I'm doing. I'm buying some more silver, so even if it goes down in the short term, I'm pretty certain that in a year, 2 or 3 years, I'm not going to be why the hell did I buy silver for, $15 or less. I mean, I can't see that being a bad decision in any course that the future will take, but each to their own, right? If you think that Amazon stock is going to give you better liquidity in and out, and that's the game you want to play, then go ahead. But I guess sometimes you can start getting a little bit emotional and personal about things, but try not to. But yeah, I'll try to keep an eye on some of those other stocks that I've looked at and see if there's any good breakouts, and maybe I'll try to bring those to everyone's attention. But besides that, I am back to work here in the new normal, so I'm gonna have a little less time to be doing these all day, but I'll try to pump out a couple every week. And if anyone has a suggestion, like, I'm more than happy to go looking at it. I might do a mining one right away with one of my buddies, one of those videos, and maybe I'll do a cryptocurrency one. But regardless, hopefully everyone has a good day. Okay, see ya.